Hey everyone, Haitian Homie here, welcome back to the channel, and for the last week in Overwatch League and Contenders news, we have a lot to get through, so let's go ahead and dig in, starting from Monday, January 14th, all the way up until Sunday, January 20th. So early in the week, we started to see some of these new jerseys that the teams will be wearing, the expansion teams will be wearing on stage this season. On Monday, the Toronto Defiant jerseys were revealed. On Tuesday, the Paris Eternal jerseys were revealed. And then on Wednesday, the Guangzhou Charge jerseys were revealed. So looking at these three jerseys, it looks like the darker color, like the primary color, will be the home jersey. And on the front of that, you're going to see the team emblem or logo. And then for the away jersey, you're going to have the team name written out in the team's font on a lighter white colored jersey with like the accent on the sleeve being kind of the secondary color. I think that this is a good look. It unifies all of the teams having a pretty similar sort of look, so you know what to expect. It's of course going to be easy to tell who's the home and who's the away based on the color, but then also on whether you've got the emblem on the front or whether you have the text on the front. Another little touch is that on the player's right shoulder, that's where their name will be on the home jersey, but then on the away jersey, it'll be on the left shoulder. So again, it'll be like good symmetry when you're on stage, because I'm assuming as the viewer, right, you'll have like the home team to your left, the away team to your right, and so it's a little thing, but of course having the name kind of providing some symmetry to the players' uniforms, I don't know, it'll look appealing, it'll look good to have them on the opposite shoulders, if that makes sense. But looking at the colors, maybe it's a little bit tough to tell given like the contrast, but the Paris Eternal jerseys, I personally prefer their away jerseys. I think the white with that kind of dark blue meshes really well together, but the home jerseys, it's and maybe it's just from this rendered image, it's a little bit tough to distinguish the colors very well. They don't pop. The home jersey, the blue and the red, they just kind of melt together a little bit. Neither color really stands out. Unlike the Toronto Defiant, that red on black really pops. The red really pops out, and I think the silver adds a nice touch to the away jersey. Guangzhou kind of falls in the middle. The dark blue, light blue doesn't look as striking on this rendered image as I thought it would be. Again, maybe it'll be different in person, and I have a feeling that these will turn out a little bit different in person. But the away jersey, same sort of thing. That light blue, it almost in this rendered image looks gray. And maybe that's just my eyes. Maybe I'm going blind, which I probably am. But like, I don't know, that sleeve that has the light blue on it almost looks more gray than it does blue. Tell me if that's what you see as well, or I don't know. Hopefully the jerseys, when they actually come out, will look a little bit poppier for both the Paris and Guangzhou teams. But in any case, that gives you a little bit of idea of what to expect on stage this season. Moving on from the jersey reveals, we have some big news in Contenders. So most Contenders events are played remotely as of right now, so you don't have all the players in like the same arena or in the same studio playing together. But 2019 is going to change that with 3 live events, 2 of which being showdowns, 1 being called the Gauntlet, which sounds super cool. So let's take a look at those. Currently there are 7 Contenders regions, and for the 2019 live events, they'll be split into 2 divisions, Atlantic Division and Pacific Division, similar to the Overwatch League. During the Overwatch League All-Star break, Contenders will be hosting a couple of live events by division. So first will be the Pacific Division near the end of May, that'll take place in China, and the top 1 team from Australia, the top 2 from China, the top 2 from Korea, and the top 1 from the Pacific region will all face off in a double elimination tournament, which will be really cool because A, it'll be a live event that people can go to, which is always an awesome thing. But the second thing is, people say that, Contenders Korea is way tougher than, say, Contenders Pacific. This event will put the top teams against each other, so maybe where there's only one really good team in the Pacific region, maybe that one team can hold its own against the top 1 team from, say, Korea or from China. And this will give us an opportunity to see if there is parity among the different regions, or if Korea is just going to wipe the floor with Australia, or with the Pacific teams. The Atlantic Showdown will take place a few days after the Pacific one in either Europe or the Americas. It'll also be double elimination, but with only 3 regions to choose from instead of 4. The top teams will come 2 from Europe, 3 from North America, 1 from South America. And again, we'll get to see if NA Contenders is actually tougher than Europe Contenders and so on. Then finally, there's the Gauntlet. This one is a little bit muddier. It's not quite clear how this one will work, especially because it seems like there's some typos on the Contenders website. It'll take place after the Overwatch League Season 2 finishes up, and they say that this is so that scouts can take a look at the Gauntlet and see, who they want to sign after Overwatch League Season 2 finishes up. So teams will be invited based on their Atlantic and Pacific Showdown results, but it's not clear exactly how many teams will be invited. It will be a double elimination tournament, but more details will be coming on this presumably biggest event of Contenders coming soon, I guess. Again, it's pretty vague. They just kind of announced the event but didn't give a ton of details on it. And with it being 9 months away, it makes sense that they don't have everything figured out just yet. Nonetheless, it seems like Overwatch Contenders is finally starting to take people's criticism seriously. A lot of people say that Blizzard doesn't put enough emphasis on Contenders. Most recently, they were scheduling Contenders events and the Bastet Challenge events, like the live streams, at the same time. So people were watching streamers instead of the Contenders players. It looks like Blizzard is going to start putting things at times when people won't have to compete with Overwatch League viewership, for example. These events will take place when Overwatch League is not on, so all eyes could be on Contenders. I think that this is a good start, and they're finally starting to take people seriously when we say you need to get people watching Contenders. It's good for the league, it's good for competitive Overwatch as a whole, and I think it's a great idea. Hopefully they do it well. Hopefully the execution is as good as it sounds. Also on Wednesday, the Chengdu Hunters added a new main tank, Jakiren. He's now one of 3 Chengdu players to come from Miraculous Youngster, who you may remember as the best Chinese Overwatch team before the Overwatch League began. In fun fact, they actually took down the original Runaway squad before they were split into different Contenders regions. Like, Miraculous Youngster was really good. That team ended up splitting up around the time that Overwatch League started, and so some of these players are finally starting to come back together. So we'll see if all these years later the synergy is still there, if these players are still as good as they were. But now having 3 players from Miraculous Youngster, we really get to see some of that synergy in action potentially. And of course, these are fan favorite players, so I think it's a good move for Chengdu. Thursday, January 17th, Nate Nanzer announced that Stage 1 of the Overwatch League will in fact be played on the current PTR patch. So whether or not Blizzard decides to make any tweaks to that PTR patch before it drops live, it doesn't appear that that will matter, because teams are scrimming on this PTR patch as it is. They're getting their practice in, and this gives the teams several weeks knowing what they're going to be going up against, knowing what patch they're going to be playing on, and regardless of whether it goes live exactly the way it is, this will give the Overwatch League players a good chance to start to make some strategies, knowing that, this is what we'll be playing with for the next several months. That's a good move. And while I don't think GOATS is going to be gone, it's a good start. And hopefully by Stage 2, we actually have like a significant meta change. And then finally, over the weekend, we had Contenders results coming in from the different regions that were having their finals matches. So Friday, January 18th, Hong Kong Attitude wins Pacific Contenders 4-1 over Nova Esports. Saturday, January 19th, Runaway wins Contenders Korea 4-1 over Element Mystic. This one's big because Runaway has an entirely new roster since the Season 2 roster got signed straight to the Vancouver Titans. But this is the second consecutive win for the organization as a whole. First and foremost, the players are great. You have to be a good player to win Contenders Korea. So not to take anything away from those players, but this also does say that the Runaway organization, the Runaway management, Runner and Flowervin, they've got to be good scouts, right? They know what they're looking for in team players, and they can build a team from scratch, right? They can put that team together, they can win Contenders, then they can wipe the slate clean, start all over, and win it again with an entirely new roster. That's pretty much unheard of. It's an insane feat, and the fact that they were able to pull it off, props to them. So that's the second consecutive Contenders win for Runaway. On that same day, Saturday, January 19th, LFT Owl wins Contenders South America 4-2 over Base Tryhards. This was the only one where the loser actually took 2 maps from the winner, and that's because the Base Tryhards roster was previously known as Brazil Gaming House, who won Contenders South America Season 1 and Season 2. So of course they weren't going to get rolled. They were going to put up a big fight, but it came as a huge surprise to a lot of people that LFT Owl actually took them down, and they ended up winning 4-2. So big feat to take down the 2-time champions. And then on the other hand, you've got the Sydney Drop Bears that same day, winning Australian Contenders 4-1 over Atletico, joining Fusion University as the only Contenders 3-peat winners. Of course, that is a huge accomplishment, so they're one of the only 2 Contenders teams to do it 3 times. Whether you think Australian Contenders is an easier region or not, it's still a huge feat. I mean, these guys are all still, Grandmaster players, so again, props to them. Sydney Drop Bears, 3-time Contenders champions. So with all these Contenders regions finished up, Grand Finals out of the way, we are inching ever closer to the start of Overwatch League Season 2. I'm super excited. I can't wait to dig into Stage 1 and see how my favorite teams do, see how these new expansion teams do, and see what sort of upsets we have. I'm really excited, especially because the NFL looks like, of course, Tom Brady is going to do it again. But that's beside the point. I need something to look forward to, okay? Overwatch League is going to be where it's at for me. So, thank you for watching this weekly recap. Tune in for a new video coming Thursday. This is a Haitian homie signing off, and I will see you guys later.